Hello from Bali. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the comments below for the details. Let's talk about principles and let's start with the definition.
This topic which I like a lot. And by the way, I have a special book which have the same name, principles, and there are like 12 articles or 12 divisions about different principles in work, in sport, in competitions, in family, with parents, and so on. When I was going to school and then to university, I often was using the back of my copybooks to write some special funny stuff, which was pronounced by teachers. It was used then in some kinds of stand-up, like humor in different competitions. But sometimes I was thinking, this is a very good phrase. I should think later about it. And sometimes those phrases became like part of me. They became like born in my mindset. For example, I like it that the life goes in the side of the сильная мысль, thought, but сильная, powerful, the strong. Yes. So the life goes with the side of the strong thought. And you know, it's quite working. For example, you want to work, for example, in other country. You start to read about this. You start learn language. You start establish connection, for example, in LinkedIn. And after 2 or 3, 5 years, you will be in this country. For example, you are now in Bali, and it was a time when I was dreaming to be there. But I was a student and I have no money. But I was asking some people about Bali, one and another, and suddenly it was a recall from one girl, and she told me, you know, the owner of the Melia Bali hotel, he is living in Singapore. He looking for a person who could check their computer network. And I was thinking, I will fly from Ukraine to Singapore and then to Bali. It's almost impossible, but it happens. It happened, and I was granted a 2-story room, and I was there like for 10 days. And then I was another job with the owner of hotel. It was also Melia, but in Cancun. But if I will not ask for everyone how to come to Bali and what is Bali and why it is so famous, I will never be there. Or for example, another one, another example of principle. You should be thinking that you can, because if you're thinking that you can't, you also right. For example, you want to make an Ironman. That's about to преодолеть, to overcome 226 kilometers. And usually for me, it's take like 16 or 17 hours. This is not about arms, not about legs. It's not about something afraid of. This is how your brain works. Sometimes your last kilometer or your last mile would be the hardest, not because you have no fuel inside of you, but because your head will tell you, you are tired. You should be out. You should go home. You do not need to cross this finish line. By the way, to be honest, or to tell the truth, the person who will, as a first competitor, will overcome or cross the finish line, it would be greeted warmly because it's the most Ironman from all who take the part in the competition. But also the same greetings, or maybe even harder, you will get if you will crossing this line last, because you trying to make this distance, but who there is a saying, single-digit Ironman, for example, like 9 hours. But some of them, even me also, sometimes it would be like 16 or 17 hours. The same distance, the same efforts, but you are maybe even stronger because you have something in yourself which not about muscles, that about your ability to run when it is hard, when it is hot, when it is maybe you have some pain. For example, it was like several years ago, it was Nizza. It's okay to say Nizza. Nice. And it was very hard, and we were running asphalt on concrete floor. Yes.
Asphalt.
Asphalt. It was so hot. All people laying close to the sea. They drink water, and you should run, you should swim, you should bike. It was so hard. But you should understand another principle, which I like also a lot. There is a karate. Karate, this is martial art. And there is a saying, what is black belt? Black belt is a white belt which will never surrender.
And I probably would use your example of the marathon, like when you're crossing the finishing line, you probably would understand something, and then you would coin it, and then you would embed it into your, I would say, like the virtual book of the principles. So how exactly it happens that you do understand something about life or different aspects of it, so that you realize, okay, this is something that I definitely want to bring with me and use it in the future. So how and when this moment happens?
Maxim, this may be second time, but I don't know what to answer. And in those cases, usually I stick to the example. It was a friend of mine. He was billionaire. He already died. And suddenly we were on some trip, and he was asked by his employee about something, and he told no, without even thinking. And I was a bit agree with him, because why you should not think? This is your employee is girl, and she's clever, and I like your proposal. Suddenly he turned the head to my side, at my side, and he pronounced, if you tell no, you already earned. Сказал нет, заработал.
That's
if
correct.
you tell no, you already earned. And it was several times I was returning to this thought, and I make it like my principle. And now I am saying to my employee, if they say they are in a hurry, you should do something urgently, and I say to them, if you will press me, the answer will definitely negative. Because if something goes wrong and I should make decision in a hurry, it could be mistake. And another principle, mistakes are very expensive, not because of their price, but because their consequences cost much more to clean.
Well, this is an interesting one, and definitely something to think through and live by. And again, like maybe I will stick to the phrase that I've just said, like think through. Sometimes you also might be, like let's say you call those things maximus, like when you read them, when you hear them, when you even formulate it within your head. But it's usually, I would compare it with the, like this cube for soap, like it's very condensed, like you really need to put some sort of like a water, you need to boil it or whatever to make sure you understand it. So how to spend enough time to understand, okay, this is something that I definitely want to use, this is definitely I want to stick, and I want to do it not like for a short period of time, but like want to make it lifetime.
Maxim, this is a habit. If you will read the books and you just want to know what's happening in this novel, you will not miss all this principle by heroes or by the author. But if you will look for it, you will always find. Even if you will speak with child, it would be the same. It was a time I was talking to one small boy. This was probably in train like 20 or 25 years ago. And I asked him something, and suddenly his reply was something like this. I don't know how to do this, but I will manage. And I was thinking, wow, it's so cool. All your life is the same. And there is also some principles which has another name. This is 5 strongest law in our life. One of them is about job. The harder thing in job that no one will tell you exactly what and when to do. So you want to be a good employee, but no one tells you. So you should have principles. For example, I always try to work harder than I should. For example, I will come before work day, I will leave after work day, I will work on weekends, but I will never say about this because I am selling not the time, I am selling the result. The same with our customer. For example, right now I'm working with huge, I don't know how to say, agro holding, huge agriculture company, and some job I do outside of paid time, but I never will calculate this like they should pay because they couldn't check. But if they work with me and I show my screen and they work all together, yes, I start, I don't know how to say, counter,
Yeah, counter or timer.
I put timer, but Also, usually I make discount for 10%. So I never do discount on the price, but usually I do discount on the time. The same is with our dentistry. We never do the discount as discount by itself, but we do discount in some other cases. For example, we'll put much better material, or we'll make some extra procedures.
And we already covered like a bunch of the principles, like from different areas of life. So maybe now it's time to do a bit of, I would say, like a segmentation of them, or maybe grouping, in order to understand like how exactly you want to, what kind of shelves, like a mental one, you want to use, so that you can pick them up and like use as a group.
There is some coaches, and they develop like a circle of the life, and this circle has some sectors like life balance, like pleasure, like finance, like career, and so on. And for each of the sector, you should or you can develop or listen and remember some principles, and then you should test them how they work. If you will stick to the principle and it will lead you to the victory or to success, yes, maybe it's better to use it. But if you will stick to the principle and you will be fallen in a pit and you lay in a mud or dust, then maybe you should deny this principle. It is not easy, because this is about, I don't know how to say, буквальный.
Literal.
This is about word literally. Sometimes you will stick so literally that you will miss the idea of principle, or maybe you will misunderstand this. For example, there is a principle, if you was betrayed, never give a second chance. You should understand it would be like someone breaks your arms. You still have them, but you could not embrace with the same force.
Well, I guess this is a very, very nice one. And this is actually good, I would say, transition to my next question, like how to deal with the exceptions. Because sometimes I do believe we as a human like to make sort of like excuses, or we want to find a workaround, or as you interestingly said that in one of the skills, sometimes you want to bend the truth so that you still follow the principle, but not quite. I do believe it was related to some of the religion matter. So how to deal with the exceptions when it comes to breaching the principles?
When you aim the goal, you should understand what is your purpose. First is to be a perfect shooter, or second, to be a perfect man. For example, sometimes we have squirrel with my wife, and usually I проигрываем, defeat, yes?
That's correct.
I defeat. This is also the principle. I want to be right, or I want to be happy. If I am right, I couldn't be happy because my wife wouldn't be happy. And this is also the principle. If wife happy, the whole family would be happy. So if your wife will smile, she could make you smile and children smile. But if she will cry, everyone will cry. So you should understand what to do. Or another example. For example, I have a mother, which is quite old woman, and sometimes also she tell me not the truth. For example, she spent money for some, I don't know, for small griefs, маленькие грехи.
Little sins.
Little sins. For example, I know that she was given money to buy something, for example, like medicine, or to go to, I don't know how to say, MRT. Or to MRT, or to some other, but she missed this seance, and she takes this money and bought, for example, some food which is not suitable for her. But I'm always thinking that I have two men in my body. First, which will say, come on, you're a liar. But second, will say, come on, you was living inside of this woman for 9 months. And when I was ill, when I was, I don't know, dirty, and I was maybe обижен,
I would say
offended, I was protected by this woman. And even it was several times when I was falling asleep, and I found in my copybooks that she wrote сочинение, like essay for me.
Essay is the right word.
Yes, essay for me. And in those cases, I will remember, okay, I can be right, but this woman already sacrificed some part of her life for me. So better I will be like a fool. I was foolish, and I will make everything with smile because I want to be devoted to her.
Well, it looks like sometimes you do need to use like a good common sense and maybe have some sort of like a helicopter view, not even from your point of view, but also like from a people point of view, and maybe like looking into like what exactly you want to achieve with your life, with your people, or maybe with something else. Then my last question will be how knowing about principles would help to make this world a better place.
On the course, which has name How to Take Decisions, I tell such a concept that there is two decisions in our life, or two group of decisions. First, you will make it like improvisation, and second, it's like programming decision. For example, I never will tolerate with someone steal something, and I don't know how I could steal pen or pack of paper or wireless mouse or $10 or something like this. But a lot of people, they think if no one could see this, I will do this. You know, it was a time when I was chief of security and I was granted access to a lot of hidden video cameras and microphones. And it was a very hard time for me. It was like 24 and 25 years old. And I profoundly found that a lot of people, they bend information, they steal, they cheat, and I don't know why. If you make this, it would get worse, because sometimes we will call to my office cashiers or some other guys and girls, and they will keep them and send to the prison for a very long time, even with confiscation of their belongings, flats and houses. So you build your life, you build your career, you think that you are smartest and you have maybe a pretty house and fancy swimming pool, but suddenly you will find yourself in a very small prison cell and you will stay there like for 12 years. Is it worse? Definitely not. So this is not about punishment. It's about your decision. You can steal or you cannot steal. And you should make it when you steal first penny or first dime.
And we reviewed the skill of principles and how it could be helpful in your life. Stay in peace.